Today's Metro News television forecast is brought to you by Salango Law. Get results, not excuses.
Meteorologist Joe Hansel here with your latest forecast. We get a well-deserved break of the rain today. Yesterday we had another round of some heavy rain, 2/3 of an inch yesterday in Charleston. For August to date, we're at 10.31 inches, which puts us at our third wettest August on record right now, with just under 2 weeks to go. We just need over a tenth of an inch of rain to be our wettest August on record, and we've had up and down extreme August. The August of last year was one of our drier on record. Over the last 5 days, over 5 inches of rain in Charleston and some 24-hour reports in northern areas. Saw some 1 to 2 inch rain reports. So there are some flood warnings out there, including the Clarksburg area. Keep eyes on area streams and rivers. I'm seeing some minor flood stage still out the door this morning. So if there are any barricaded areas because of flooding or river flooding, be sure not to drive around those. Total over the next 5 days, again, we get a relative break today, a few light showers this morning. Chances of rain go up Wednesday night into Thursday, and then some scattered rain possible for the weekend. Tomorrow, areas of western portions of the state to about the foothills, there's a marginal risk of local flash flooding I'm watching tomorrow and tomorrow night. Today we get a break. Fly saver forecast, it starts at home. Tampa heating up again near 97. Chance of showers and storms. Panhandle, be mindful of any existing flood warnings out the door. Some patchy fog in the morning. Eastern Panhandle, we're in the low to mid 80s today. 70s in the high elevations. Flood warnings out here to the north because of all the excessive rain in recent days and weeks. Huntington at 85 today. Bluefield near 76. Morning fog, then dry for Charleston and Morgantown today. Thursday, rain and storms likely, and then some scattered rain and storms are possible for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, slight chance on Monday.
This is Ben Salango with Salango Law. Salango Law has earned a reputation for getting excellent results for our clients. With decades of experience handling thousands of cases, we know what it takes to deliver. Proudly voted Best in the Valley for 3 consecutive years by readers of the Charleston Gazette-Mail, Salango Law is deeply committed to giving back by investing in our community. From supporting local programs to making our region a better place to live, Salango Law is proud to be your trusted legal and community partner. Check us out at salangolaw.com.
The ACLU of West Virginia planning to sue over the school aid formula. We'll get into that. More flash flooding yesterday. Also, the statewide assessments. We'll do a deep dive with the West Virginia Department of Education Assessment Director. Lots to get to. It's MetroNews Talkline. We're rolling.
Do not attempt to change the station. You are surrounded. We interrupt this program to bring you an emergency news bulletin. Repeat, this is an emergency bulletin. Keep your radio turned on.
From the studios of WVRC Media and the Metro News Radio and Television Network, the voice of West Virginia, comes the most powerful show in West Virginia. This is Metro News Talkline with Dave Wilson and TJ Meadows.
Check set line up link. Activated Telos telephone. Switch network control from Charleston to Morgantown.
Stand by. Cue Dave and TJ. You're on. Metro News Talkline is presented by Encova Insurance, encircling you with coverage to protect what you care about most. Visit Encova.com to learn more.
Say good morning to our great radio affiliates across the state of West Virginia. Dave in Morgantown, TJ's in Charleston. Gang's all here ready to go. Ethan is our audio producer as usual. And Jake Link is manning the controls on the video stream. 800-765-TALK is the phone number, 800-765-8255. You can also text the show at 304-TALK-304. Thanks for listening in. Thanks for watching. If you've downloaded the Metro News TV app, or if you're watching on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, we appreciate that as well. Don't forget, download the app to your smart TV or your favorite mobile device. Take the Metro News programming with you anywhere you go. Coming up a little later on, Dr. Vaughn Rhudy, the Director of Assessment for the State Department of Education, will join us. We'll take a little bit deeper dive into the state assessment results that were released last week during the interim committee meetings. He'll join us bottom of the hour. Also, remember the Beast. and I can't remember what the smaller bus was. The Green Power Motor electric school buses. Well, as school starts around the state, those buses are all parked. WAJR's Mike Nolting has been looking into that. He'll join us in just a little bit. Also, Patsy Trecost, Harrison County Commissioner, he will stop by Harrison County dealing with some flash flooding as the rains continued yesterday. More flash flooding in parts of the state. We'll get an update from Harrison County. Saw the waters from Simpson Creek got up over Wayne Jamison Field in Bridgeport with football season just a little more than a week away. So lots to get to this morning. Say good morning to TJ Meadows, who is in charge of the Encova Insurance Studios South, or at least the one room you're in. Good morning, TJ.
Good morning. Montani Semper Liberi, Dave. It's a great day to be here.
We'll get into, we have reached out to the ACLU West Virginia, but yesterday ACLU sent out a press release that it notified the state of West Virginia of its intent to file suit on behalf of a class of Lincoln County students alleging the state's persistent underfunding of public schools violates the thorough and efficient education guarantee and the equal protection provisions of the West Virginia Constitution. The release from the ACLU goes on to say nearly 50 years ago, Lincoln County students brought the landmark case Pauley versus Kelly, which the West Virginia Supreme Court of Appeals used to establish that a thorough and efficient education is a fundamental constitutional right. The 1982 RECT decision that followed, a court documented in exhaustive detail how Lincoln County schools fell short of that standard, and it directed the state to fix it. More than 50 years later, the ACLU West Virginia says Lincoln County students receive a worse education across many metrics than their parents and grandparents did, and that by some measures, the schools are worse off than the system a court already found unconstitutional. The release goes on from there, describes a school funding system that fails students statewide, saying that there's an inadequate education delivery. Special education receives only minimal funding, gets into the buildings there, specifically Duval Pre-K through 8 school, which was condemned for structural issues in 2021. We've got a story posted. Several other outlets have those stories as well. It's a notice to intent. We have reached out to ACLU. I think we'll get somebody on tomorrow for a little bit more analysis. But your initial thoughts on this, TJ?
Not surprised, not one bit, that this would happen. I think the legislature has had this issue for some time. We've been talking about the school aid funding formula for some time, and we have yet to fix it. And so I am not surprised one bit that we would find ourselves potentially, because, again, this is a notice. It's not actually a suit. It's a notice that they plan to file suit, they being the ACLU. Doesn't surprise me at all, potentially, that we are here. I spoke with Paul Hardesty yesterday evening, Dave. This is what he told me. He said, quote, "I am not really surprised by their filing of the lawsuit." Again, talking about ACLU. "This is my 4th term as president of the West Virginia Board of Education. I have repeatedly asked for help with the current outdated school aid funding formula. To date, I have received none." So I interpret that from Hardesty. Again, he's not surprised. I also read between the lines a little bit. I think he's worn out. I think he's been asking, hasn't gotten any help. And this is me, not him, but I read that to be, I'm a bit relieved. At least maybe we can get something solved now from his perspective. That's where I am.
A couple of thoughts on this. One, like you, I'm not surprised, but also I don't really find lawsuits to be all that effective. Courts should not be the mechanism to set policy, and this is a policy discussion. But also, TJ, a lot of the problems that the ACLU describes in this press release, and again, we've reached out, are directly or indirectly a result of the state trying over the course of the last 50 years to come up with an equitable system, and by doing that has created this inequitable system that the ACLU points out. Whether that's school building authority, whether that is the school aid formula, like it, lump it, maybe the state has neglected its duties over the last decade to update that system, but trying to equitably distribute funds across a state where economies vary greatly from Boone County to McDowell County to Monongalia County, you're going to have inequities in it. And the more they tweak it, it seems like the more the problem got worse. Then you get into the school building authority, TJ, which is a separate matter, but also when you're talking about economies of scale, trying to deliver the most equitable education, school closures were part of that deal. And that all gets tied into this larger conversation. Now we're upset with the system. Now we don't like it. So now we're going to file a lawsuit, which over the last 50 years, I'm not saying all the decisions were made correctly. I agree the school aid formula is outdated, but that was the goal, was to come up with an equitable system. And in doing so, they've created an inequitable system.
I know of few things in life, few companies, few strategies, any kind of element of planning that doesn't adapt with the times. And over 50 years, the times have certainly changed. You talk about 1982 and the REC decision. Well, fundamentally, we were talking then about how these funds should be provided, but it was not as much a question of the funds itself. You know, we had coal still in the money. We had a lot of severance revenue coming in. Financially, we don't have that anymore. So I think it's not only an element of what the Constitution calls for and whether or not the state is meeting its constitutional requirements to its citizens. It also becomes a factor of how do we pay for it? Where does the funding come from? Massage this formula all you want. There's not another bucket of money out there somewhere that can be infused into this. So does that make what the court said in the REC decision perhaps not unconstitutional, but not feasible? Because we also have a constitutional responsibility in this state of a balanced budget. So how do you start to reconcile the two of those? Many of these counties that we're talking about, whether they're takeover counties, Lincoln in terms of this suit, their gross domestic product on a county basis is horrid. They don't make enough money. They don't generate enough economic activity to honestly even be a county, let alone run a school system. So I think we're here in part because many of these decisions, 55 counties, 55 county school systems, they're politically unpopular, not palatable, could cost someone a seat if they vote the wrong way. I believe there are those in the legislature who probably secretly welcome this kind of a suit because it means they don't have to handle it. It's not unlike Congress punting a lot of their responsibilities and then asking why the executive is making all the decisions that the executive does. Well, the court is the third branch. And if someone feels like their constitutional rights are being violated, you go to the court. And I think that's why we're here. If we had been more proactive, perhaps we wouldn't have been. That's water over the dam, but now we're here, so we have to deal with it.
And talking about the difference between now and 1982, throw in population loss.
Yeah.
And since Lincoln County specifically is mentioned here, Lincoln County's lost 20% of its population over the last 44 years. School population's gone from about 4,000 to just a little over 2,800. And what is the school aid formula heavily reliant on? Student population. Yeah. So, and there's another element to this conversation that I think gets lost. We talk about the state's responsibility, but there's local accountability. If we're going to have 55 school systems, and for the foreseeable future, that is going to be the system, TJ. There's got to be some local accountability as well. And that seems to get either lost or just glazed over in this conversation when you were talking about building new facilities, keeping up with the maintenance, excess school levies. That doesn't get brought up much, but that has to be part of the conversation if we're going to have this open, honest conversation about trying to reform public education funding.
Let me put this very brassly, and I hate this, but I don't know any other way to do it. What's more important, what a kid learns or how long they're on a bus? I'd rather focus on what they learn because that's life-changing. I don't want them to ride a bus for 45 minutes either. But given the circumstances that we're in, you can't run a school that has 100 kids in it when it was built to house 400 or 500. The occupancy rates, to your point, are just not where they need to be. And local boards have to step up and make this decision. And again, very politically unpopular. I believe that many of these institutions, they wait for the state to come in. I talk with people who tell me that off the record because they don't want to make unpopular political decisions. They don't want to make the tough decisions. So you let the state do it. And you let the state close schools while they're in control. Everybody feels like, oh, it wasn't me. I can run for the board again or whatever. Problem is, to your point, you're not doing what needs to be done. You're not being a good steward of the system that you were put in. You're not managing your funds correctly. You're letting things go. And the system suffers. The kids suffer. And we end up where we are.
Well, I'll put that back on more broadly, not just the school board, it's the voters. If you're going to vote down construction levies, which they did for a new Duval elementary school, which would have been a consolidated elementary school, if you're going to vote down excess levies, that's local responsibility, because there are other counties that are passing those excess levies and those construction levies to build the new facilities. And that, again, if we're going to have a broad conversation, there's state, which certainly there are reforms that need to be made, but there's local accountability as well. Like you said, are you going to make the tough decisions? Are you going to rift those positions that need to be rifted? Are you going to consolidate those buildings on the economy of scale so you can provide a thorough and efficient education?
If this lawsuit does anything, no, you're right, you're fine. If this lawsuit does anything, I hope it forces us to be more transparent. And I hope it forces us to put tough questions on the table that might be conveniently left out. Because, again, this is a symptom. It's not the problem necessarily. And until we get to the root of the problem and we either grow our way out of it or we learn to better manage what we have and make tough decisions and cuts in doing so, I can't get the equation to balance. And if we do ourselves the disservice of not putting everything on the table and fundamentally addressing the change that we all know needs to happen, whether that's legislation, lawsuit, whatever it may be, we're just kicking the can further down the road. I don't know that that's even possible, but it's time to deal with it now. It only gets worse. It doesn't get any better.
And like you've said numerous times, many, several, a couple of times, you can either have a judge tell you how to fix it or you can fix it first. Which would you rather do if you are in the – maybe you would rather have the judge do it. Then you don't have to bear the responsibility if you're an elected official. Maybe.
I want to assume positive intent, Dave. I really do. But the evidence points to the direction you just said. How long does it take? I mean, how long have we've been talking about school funding formula since you and I took this show over? That's coming up on 2 years. Hoppy talked about it for I don't know how many years before that. Not breaking news.
I've told you before, I found an old newspaper article, I think was from 1950 something. You know what they were complaining about then? The school funding. Not enough school funding. All right. Speaking of schools, they're going back in session this week and next, and there are some school buses that are not going back into service. Mike Nolting's been following that story. He joins us next. You can weigh in, 304-TALK, 304-800-765-8255. Just getting started on a Tuesday edition. Back in a moment.
Right now, America is hungry for energy, more power, more reliability, and more security. So here's a question worth asking. Why not coal? And why not now? West Virginia sits on one of the most abundant energy resources in the world. Generations of miners, proven infrastructure, and coal-fired power plants already delivering dependable, around-the-clock electricity. At a time when demand is surging and reliability matters more than ever, coal isn't a question mark, it's a solution. Today, there's robust support in West Virginia and Washington to strengthen American energy independence using the resources we already have. So again, we ask, why not coal? And why not now? Because when it comes to powering our homes, our hospitals, our economy, and new opportunities, West Virginia Coal is ready. A message from the Friends of Coal, powering America today and tomorrow.
It's the WVRC Media Cares for Kids Radiothon this Thursday and Friday, raising money to support the incredible care provided by WVU Medicine Golisano Children's. From life-saving treatments to the little comforts that help make a child's stay a little easier. Your donation helps keep those programs going. Now, you can text the word WVU Kids to 34984 for a link to donate via credit or debit, PayPal, Apple Pay, or Venmo. It's the WVRC Media Cares for Kids Radiothon supporting WVU Medicine Golisano Children's this Thursday and Friday.
You're listening to Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
Football season begins right here on Metro News Television. Join us Thursday, August 27th for the 2026 WVSSAC kickoff game. Presented by the Army National Guard. The Cameron Dragons battle the Clay Battelle Seabees live from Blacksville. Don't miss the first kickoff of the new season. The 2026 WVSSAC kickoff game. Thursday, August 27th at 7 p.m. Pre-game coverage starts at 6:30 p.m. Powered by GoMart. Only on Metro News Television.
I think many people have a misconception that all that we do is infertility care, and that's not the case. Reproductive health matters whether or not you're trying to conceive. So we can be dealing with endometriosis, ovulation dysfunction, PCOS. You're getting linked up with all the specialties that you need to optimize your care. And being an advocate for your reproductive health is important. The most rewarding times that I have is when I'm empowering people to take control of their health.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong.
Need a truck that's ready for work, weekends, and everything in between? Right now at Dan Cava GMC, get up to $10,000 off select new GMC Sierra 1500, or save up to $4,000 off all new GMC Canyon Elevations, offering bold styles, advanced technology, and everyday practicality. Come explore our all-new GMC Yukons, built for busy families and big adventures. All this and more at Dan Cava GMC in Bridgeport. Shop Thorold.
The best selection of WVU apparel is at Daniel's Men's Store. Exclusive designs you won't find anywhere else. Stylish, sophisticated, and unmistakably mountaineer. Shop in store or online at danielsofmorgantown.com.
MetroNews Talkline is presented by Encova Insurance, encircling you with coverage to protect what you care about most. Visit Encova.com to learn more.
Remember the Beast and the Nano Beast? Those were the nicknames for the Green Power Motor electric school buses that were purchased by several school systems across the state, including Monongalia County and Kanawha County. That company has been, it's had its problems since those buses were manufactured there in South Charleston. That is just one part of the story. But as schools go back to class across the state, those electric buses are parked. WAJR's Mike Nolting has been following the story. He joins us from the Talk of the Town studios this morning. Mike, good morning. Why are these buses parked?
Hey, good morning, gentlemen. Well, the reason they're parked is they're under investigation by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. They're calling this a compliance investigation. There have been some problems like overheating brakes. The emergency exit doors are not consistent or common. And the battery performance has also been an issue.
Is it fair to say that they're parked because of safety concerns then, Mike?
Yes, I would say that that would be a good blanket term to use, although there have been no accidents, nobody's been hurt, and no batteries have exploded. There haven't been any fires or anything like that, but there's enough concern when you have overheated brakes and a load of kids that is definitely a safety concern.
Obviously, there are several school systems here in West Virginia, Mike, that have these buses. But is this, if the national folks are looking into this, this is a problem, not just a West Virginia problem then?
That would appear to be the case. However, I've been emailing back and forth with the NHTSA, and they really haven't been able to answer many questions, because one of my questions was, since Green Power Motors, they have moved west. They're now based in New Mexico, building buses there for the school system. So my question to the feds was, if these buses aren't compliant, can they still get federal money to do other buses in other states? That question wasn't answered, but as we speak, at Green Power Motors, they have set up shop in New Mexico, and they're getting ready to build buses, a lot like the deal that they had here in South Charleston, teaming with a local community college in order to provide training for workers.
Do we know if the facility in South Charleston is still open? Is anything happening there?
I have attempted to contact them, TJ, and I cannot get through.
I'll drive by there today for you. See what I can find out.
Appreciate it.
You won't do it on an electric school bus, that's for sure.
No, I won't.
WAJR's Mike Nolting joining us. Mike, I know Montague County, they got the very first one that rolled off the line. Montague County invested a lot of money into this project. Several other counties have as well. Any local reactions?
Not really. And now I've talked to some of the people over in the garage, and they've done nothing but talk about some of the issues that they've had. I don't think that there's a lot of people that are shocked that maybe this didn't quite work out as planned, because if you go back to that pilot program, they did one test in the summer, they did another test in the winter, and those winter tests, those winter pilots, they were just a little bit mixed, but yet they went forward with the program.
I do think it's fair to point out, we're talking about one manufacturer here. I'm not reading stories about Bluebird or other bus manufacturers who have also done e-buses. So I think it's important to point out green power is one thing and its issues doesn't necessarily mean the concept of an e-bus is flawed.
I think that's a very fair statement. And I also think it'd be fair to point out that when you're talking about these types of weights and what you're trying to do with this electric engine, I'm not so sure that we're ready to just jump off in the deep end.
WAJR's Mike Nolting. You can read a story over at the website, wvmetronews.com. Catch Mike weekday mornings prior to this program on our flagship in Morgantown, WAJR Talk of the Town. Mike, we appreciate it. Great job, buddy.
Thank you, guys.
Coming up, we got kind of an education theme going here in the first hour of the program. We'll talk to the State Department of Education Assessment Director, Dr. Vaughn Rhudy, going to join us next. This is Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia. It is 10:30, time for a news update. Let's check in on the Metro News Radio Network. Find out what's happening across the great state of West Virginia.
Today's Metro News television forecast is brought to you by Solango Law. Get results, not excuses.
Meteorologist Joe Hansel here with your latest forecast. We get a well-deserved break of the rain today. Yesterday, we had another round of some heavy rain, 2/3 of an inch yesterday in Charleston. For August to date, we're at 10.31 inches, which puts us at our third wettest August on record right now, with just under 2 weeks to go. We just need over a tenth of an inch of rain to be our wettest August on record, and we've had up and down extreme August. The August of last year was one of our drier on record. Over the last 5 days, over 5 inches of rain in Charleston and some 24-hour reports in northern areas. Saw some 1 to 2 inch rain reports. So there are some flood warnings out there, including the Clarksburg area. Keep eyes on area streams and rivers. I'm seeing some minor flood stage still out the door this morning. So if there are any barricaded areas because of flooding or river flooding, be sure not to drive around those. Total over the next 5 days, again, we get a relative break today, a few light showers this morning. Chances of rain go up Wednesday night into Thursday, and then some scattered rain possible for the weekend. Tomorrow, areas of western portions of the state to about the foothills, there's a marginal risk of local flash flooding I'm watching tomorrow and tomorrow night. Today, we get a break. Fly saver forecast, it starts at home. Tampa heating up again near 97. Chance of showers and storms. Panhandle, be mindful of any existing flood warnings out the door. Some patchy fog in the morning. Eastern Panhandle, we're in the low to mid 80s today. 70s in the high elevations. Flood warnings out here to the north because of all the excessive rain in recent days and weeks. Huntington at 85 today. Bluefield near 76. Morning fog, then dry for Charleston and Morgantown today. Thursday, rain and storms likely, and then some scattered rain and storms are possible for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, slight chance on Monday.
This is Ben Solango with Solango Law. Solango Law has earned a reputation for getting excellent results for our clients. With decades of experience handling thousands of cases, we know what it takes to deliver. Proudly voted Best in the Valley for 3 consecutive years by readers of the Charleston Gazette-Mail, Solango Law is deeply committed to giving back by investing in our community. From supporting local programs to making our region a better place to live, Solango Law is proud to be your trusted legal and community partner. Check us out at solangolaw.com.
Hey, I take offense of that.
Why would you do that? Because on midday, the last segment, the first thing I hear when those mics go on is you just coughing, and I'm just like, this guy.
You don't appreciate me giving that show a little ratings boost at the end, a little boom boom?
You coughing directly onto these microphones? No, I don't want it.
I don't know where this came from.
Everybody.
I'm in another room, guys. I don't know.
Everybody.
Hey, Coop,
I'm just watching this.
Hotline on Metro News Television.
We'll get to your text. 304 Talk 304 is the text line. Give us a call, 800-765-8255. An update on some flash flooding yesterday, this time in Harrison County. Commissioner Patsy Trecost will join us top of the hour. Last week, the State Department of Education released student assessment results, making a presentation at the State Board of Education meeting. Department of Education Assessment Director Dr. Vaughn Rhudy reported a mixed bag across the disciplines. For a little bit deeper dive this morning, joining us on MetroNews Talkline is the aforementioned Director of Assessments for the State Department of Education, Dr. Vaughn Rhudy. Dr. Rhudy, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
I guess we could kind of do a good, bad, and ugly segment here, but let's start with the good. What were the positive takeaways from the most recent student assessments?
I think the positive takeaways that we saw that we are continuing to make some gains. Sometimes they're small, but any gains are greatly appreciated, and we're glad to see those. And if you look at our math and our ELA scores overall over the past few years, you can see that we are trending upward in those areas. Our science scores are kind of staying level, but we're not seeing really any major drops in those when you look at the overall scores that encompass all of the assessments and all of the grades calculated together. And then when we look at individual scores for like English language arts, we stayed the same in grades 3 and 4, but we did see increases in 5, 6, 7, and 8, and we did see a drop in grade 11. For math, we saw increases in all the grades except for grade 4, where there was just a 1 percentage point drop. And then in science, we saw increases at grade 5. We stayed the same at grade 8 and saw a drop at grade 11. So it was a little bit of mix, but we're seeing some positive gains. And when you look at from where we were a few years ago, we're continuing to make improvements.
So you talk about math here. Looking at 2021 in math, we were at 28.1% proficiency. By 2026. That had grown to 39.4%. I mean, that percentage change is roughly 40% in and of itself. That is significant improvement. What is driving that improvement?
I think a lot of what's driving it, of course, is the hard work that our teachers are doing in our schools. I think there's a real focus for trying to get certified math teachers in the classroom. There's been a shortage over a period of time, and sometimes it's very difficult to move that needle when you have teachers that aren't certified in a particular content area. So if we can continue to make some strides in that area. Additionally, we have a Unite with Numeracy initiative. A few years ago, it was called Math for Life, where we started to really put some professional development to help our teachers to improve their math instruction. And I think they've worked very hard to do that.
Dr. Vaughn Rhudy joining us, West Virginia Department of Education, Director of Assessment. Speaking of math, one of the points that got brought up in the board meeting was 11th graders, 21% of 11th graders who took the assessment proficient in math. Is that number alarming? And can you define what being proficient actually means?
Sure. So proficiency is determined through a process called standard setting. So anytime that you give a new test, and a few years ago, because of law, we went through a procurement process and selected the SAT school day at grade 11. And so when we do a standard setting process, we bring in educators after the very first administration. So we had our first administration of the SAT school day in 2018. And then that summer, after that administration, we brought in a panel of educators. We brought in some higher education folks. We even brought in some parents and some business folks. They take the test, and then they kind of look at it and say, well, this is where we think that students should be considered proficient, and they set what's called a cut score. And then that cut score establishes that proficiency. And then we establish these other achievement levels. So we have 4 achievement levels in West Virginia. The lowest is does not meet standard. The next is partially meet standard. Then we have meet standard and then exceed standard. And the proficiency cut is right there at meet standard. So anything above that then is considered proficiency. And that's where the term proficiency comes from.
The SAT in and of itself, I mean, it's AIM. It's a college entrance exam. It's designed, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, to try to predictively determine, I think it has its flaws, how well a student will do in college. Not all of our students will go to college. They're just
That's
not.
true.
I mean, are we comparing a Ferrari to a Chevy here when we take this test? I mean, why not focus on what is best for the child? And if it is some other skill or job that doesn't require a college education, I'm not sure why we're using a college entrance exam to test proficiency. What am I missing?
Sure. That's a very good question. And I would say this, too. Of course, College Board over the past few years have made a lot of changes to their assessment. So now it's not just a college entrance exam. It's a college career and a career readiness assessment as well. And they have a lot of components that they're measuring that would benefit folks in different careers. And they've spent a lot of time working on that. As far as the requirement of administering a college entrance exam, several years ago, back before we started administering the SAT in 2018, we gave, for a few years, we gave West Test, what was called West Test 2, and then we gave the Smarter Balanced Assessment for 3 years from 2015 to 2017. And one of the complaints that we got is that because that test for some students didn't seem to mean anything, that there was some concerns about their motivation. So the state board and the legislature, they thought, well, what if we gave a college entrance exam that has a little bit more meaning? And they used the term provided students with some skin in the game. So then they put into legislation in 2017 that required us to procure an assessment that was largely used for college admissions. And so we had to go through a procurement, and that's what we did. And we've been working with College Board, as I said, for many years to try to go beyond just simply the college readiness, but also look at that career readiness as well.
Talking to Dr. Vaughn, Rhudy, West Virginia Department of Education, Director of Assessments. Have we seen measurable impacts from the Third Grade Success Act that was passed a couple of years back?
Yes, I think we have. It was passed a few years ago, and then we immediately started the initiative called Ready, Read, Write, and focused on providing a lot of training on the science of reading, especially at the lower grade levels. And over the years, we've started to see some impact in that. And I think that as we continue to implement that and then carry that on through these other grade levels, as those students start to move up, I think we're going to continue to see growth, especially in our literacy.
Doc, I'm willing to bet that if you broke this out by socioeconomic areas, those that have less socioeconomic challenges probably have students with better test scores. What role and how do we address the challenges that poor kids have?
Well, that's another thing that you're absolutely right. When you look at socioeconomic status, those students that don't face those struggles every day, they tend to do better on the assessment and tend to do better in school. And I think that it's something that our schools are trying to address. There's a lot of interventions that are being placed into schools and a lot of programs to support trying to help those students to move along. And especially with the science of reading, trying to support and help parents that have their students entering school for the first time to learn how to read and to make some great strides there. So it's a challenge, but it's something that I think that our schools are really working hard to do.
I'm going to ask you kind of one of these questions that really don't have a good answer to it, but I'm going to pose the question anyway, Dr. Rhudy.
Okay.
When it comes to student assessment, learning is very individualized. We talk about that a lot these days. You have students who are very good, with their working with their hands. You have very good students who do reading comprehension, students who excel at math. Is student assessment still a very inexact science?
Well, I think one of the things that we really try to look at, first of all, student assessment is a requirement under federal and state law. Our Every Student Succeeds Act, which was the reauthorization of the Elementary and Secondary Education Act, requires states to administer a summative assessments every year. In math and ELA, we have to do it every year in grades 3 through 8. And then we have to do it at least once at the high school level. For science, we have to do it at least once in every programmatic level. And then we also have to have an alternate assessment that measures those students that have the most significant cognitive disabilities. We try to to look at the summative assessment, that end-of-year assessment, as not the be-all, end-all of the assessment. It provides one piece of information. There are so many other pieces of information throughout the year. And then we provide a lot of other tools that teachers can use. We have benchmarks. We have what we call module assessments. We have a test authoring that allows teachers to create assessments that they can use in the classroom. So there's a lot of components that go into looking at that. So I think we just have to focus on the purpose of the assessment. We need to try to not put so much pressure on the kids about the assessment. Like I said, because it takes that measurement, the summative at the end of the year, that snapshot of where students are at that particular point.
Do we go past high school? Do we go past senior year with any of our analytics? And here's what I'm getting at. I'm not knocking this at all. I think it's good that we test. I think we need to understand where we are, honestly. But some of us, I'll just pick on myself. I'm not a great test taker, not a great standardized test taker. But you know what? No one will outwork me. Graduated college with honors. But if you'd have looked at my test scores, you'd have thought, this kid's not going to make it. Frankly, do we look past all of this, 10 years down the road and say, Johnny wasn't the best at this, but Johnny's killing it now. He's making above the median wage. He's got do we look past just these test scores to see how life is really turning out for these kids?
Yeah, I know higher education, the Higher Education Policy Commission does a lot of research with how students are performing, once they get into the schools. I'm not so sure that we do a lot of that here, but it is something that would be very interesting to try to get some data on how students are perform once they move on. But I'm just not familiar with all of that particular research.
Dr. Vaughn, Rhudy, West Virginia Department of Education, Director of Assessments. We appreciate the insights today. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Take a break. Back in a moment. Get to some text. 304-TALK 304. This is Talkline from the Encova Insurance Studios.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
It's good to have options for your family or employees. Rooted in your community since 1979, the health plan is your trusted partner. Get flexible coverage, exceptional support, and competitive rates.
The health plan, we are here for you.
It's the WVRC Media Cares for Kids Radiothon this Thursday and Friday, raising money to support the incredible care provided by WVU Medicine Golisano Children's. From life-saving treatments to the little comforts that help make a child's stay a little easier. Your donation helps keep those programs going. Now, you can text the word WVU Kids to 34984 for a link to donate via credit or debit, PayPal, Apple Pay, or Venmo. It's the WVRC Media Cares for Kids Radiothon supporting WVU Medicine Golisano Children's this Thursday and Friday.
You're listening to Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
A lot of patients come here without much hope, and I think we can give them hope.
We offer a full spectrum of interventions suitable for every kind of person that walks through our door. We do absolutely everything we can to help you achieve your family building goals.
In 1914, the same year the first commercial flight soared and the Panama Canal opened, Greer Industries was born. Herbert and Agnes Greer began in Morgantown, West Virginia, striking the first pick into the limestone formation that would become the backbone of one of the state's great industrial legacies. From the roads we drive on, the buildings we build, and the communities we serve, Greer Industries has been delivering quality for decades. At Greer Industries, we've been improving lives for more than a century.
At Daniel's Men's Store, exceptional style begins with a curated selection and finishes with a flawless fit. When it's time to buy a suit, Daniel's is here to make sure yours is one of a kind. Discovered tailored suits you'll only find in store at Daniel's.
For over 20 years, Dan Cava Toyota World has been more than a dealership. We're family-owned, community-focused, and committed to taking care of our customers long after the sale. Our commitment doesn't stop when you drive off the lot. With factory-trained technicians and a service team you can trust, we're here to keep your vehicle running at its best for years to come. So when it's time to get your next vehicle, choose the dealership that's been serving the community for generations. Visit Dan Cava Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the road.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And and they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
MetroNews Talkline is presented by Encova Insurance, encircling you with coverage to protect what you care about most. Visit Encova.com to learn more.
I think you and I are singing out of the same hymnal there, Brother Meadows.
Oh, yeah?
When it comes to student achievement, student assessments. I've said this for a while, and it's really immeasurable. When students graduate high school, I want them to be prepared for whatever's coming next. Is that college? Is that walking right into a job? Is that going to get some career and technical education training? Whatever it is, I want them to be prepared. And the real success of whether or not, or the real measurement of whether or not the public school system has succeeded is 5-10 years down the road. Is Jimmy Lipper making a good living? Are they able to, buy a house? Are they able to do the things? Are they prepared for life, prepared for a job? That's really hard to measure. I've talked to superintendents about this. Once they graduate, students are gone, they scatter, they're hard to find, and then you want to ask them questions like, how much you making? It becomes very hard. It becomes hard to measure, but I think that's kind of what I heard you saying, the same thing. Are they ready for the next thing?
Yeah, and I'm not sure that this test measures what everyone's next thing will be. That's why I was talking about the SAT as primarily being a college entrance exam. I'll defer to the good doctor. I'm sure he's on top of it. SAT is making changes to evaluate that. That's great. I was talking to some folks in Putnam County. I think about the student who is in a Putnam County high school that is handy with his hands, wants hands-on work. He or she wants hands-on work. And I believe it's a collaboration with Bridge Valley. Give me some grace if I'm wrong on that. But they start somewhere, I think, around their junior year. And between their education in Putnam County schools, what they are supplemented with at Bridge Valley, they end up at Toyota starting at about $80,000 a year, which is far greater than the median household income in West Virginia. And this is one person. That is a success story. And if you put calculus down in front of me right now, God, to save my life, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. And I'm a numbers guy, but I'm a business numbers guy. I was a horrible test taker, David. Horrible. He talked about kids getting anxious. I bought into the line that these tests were going to determine my entire future. And I was so nervous taking them that I could barely get the number 2 pencil to fill in a bubble. Doesn't mean I'm stupid. I was just a horrid test taker. So I like the fact that we're measuring. I'm not saying we shouldn't measure, but if you really want to know how somebody's doing, to your point, and I get it's tough, talk to them 5-10 years down the road. Are they a productive citizen? Are they making good money? Are they above a certain financial metric? Do they have power in the marketplace? Do they have a savings plan? Are they on the track to be self-sufficient and not on the government dole? And if they are, it's a win, brother.
I don't think either one of us are advocating for full on like University of Michigan. We're not going to do grades or assessments anymore.
No,
but
you get a grade.
But that's still the true measurement. Are you a productive member of society once you're out? By the way, I was the complete opposite test taker.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Am I getting graded for this? No. Is this going to keep me from playing football? No. A, B, C, do patterns down the road. Oh, okay, whatever. You can tell students that got skin in the game. It's still standardized testing. I get it. But it's still, look, we got to measure it somehow. I'm all for it. We got to have some sort of benchmarks here. Whether it's that or, 10 years later we find out, hey, Stevie's doing all right for himself. Oh, okay. Good job, buddy.
They didn't have anxiety medicine back in the day, but God, I should have been on it and taken that test. I mean, dude, it's a wonder I got out of the car. I mean, Lord is my witness. You can ask my brother, my mom. I mean, I didn't eat for 2 days in advance of these things.
I actually fell asleep taking the ACT at WVU Parkersburg. We had to go down to Parkersburg to take. Fell asleep. Actually, it was during the math portion, which I had gone specifically for because I'd had, the calculus at that point. Dozed off during the math portion of the test. Probably why I'm doing this and not an engineer.
I would argue you're successful, sir. You're doing what you're good at, what you like, making a living.
I think I still got a 21 on that portion of the test, and I dozed off.
Well, good for you.
Just imagine if a young whippersnapper had applied himself. All right, we'll get to your text coming up as TJ and I reminisce about the good old days. 304-TALK-304, that's the text line. What's wilder than West Virginia's Lottery's new $20 Wild Red Sevens scratch-off? The chance to win 10 times your prize and a $70,000 top prize. You could go wild with all the possibilities. Pick up your Wild Red Sevens ticket at your favorite West Virginia Lottery retailer today. 18 plus to play. Please play responsibly. Get to some text. Wrap up hour number 1. This is Talkline from the Cove Insurance Studios.
Your heart deserves the best. And at the WVU Heart and Vascular Institute, you'll find world-class care without leaving West Virginia. Our cardiology experts offer everything from routine screenings to treatment for complex heart conditions. Using the latest diagnostic tools and minimally invasive procedures, we focus on your long-term health so you can stay strong for the moments that matter. Call 855-WVU-CARE or visit wvumedicine.org/heart.
Are you ready to reach the finish line of retirement? At the Stike team at Wealth Enhancement Group, we provide comprehensive guidance for retirement planning in West Virginia. With years of experience, we'll draft a plan tailored for your unique goals. Whether you're just starting or nearing retirement, we make the process as simple as possible, easy, and stress-free. Visit wealthenhancement.com/Stike to set up a complimentary consultation and get started on your plan today. Let's work toward your dream retirement together.
They say you can't take the lottery with you. But now, you can play anywhere, anytime with iPlay, the West Virginia Lottery's official app. From Cooper's Rock to the Greenbrier River, from the bleachers to your living room, iPlay goes where you do. Safe, simple, and always West Virginia proud. Play anywhere, anytime. Download iPlay today. iPlay, the fun, secure way to play, wherever life takes you. 18 plus to play. Play responsibly.
You're listening to Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you. We've got it down to a science, an absolute state of art. We do it all, restoration, cleaning, and reconstruction. When disaster strikes, just pick up the phone. We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong.
For over 20 years, Dan Cava Toyota World has been more than a dealership. We're family-owned, community-focused, and committed to taking care of our customers long after the sale. Visit Dan Cava Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the world.
The best selection of WVU apparel is at Daniel's Men's Store. Exclusive designs you won't find anywhere else. Stylish, sophisticated, and unmistakably mountaineer. Shop in store or online at danielsofmorgantown.com.
I think many people have a misconception that all that we do is infertility care, and that's not the case. Reproductive health matters whether or not you're trying to conceive. So we can be dealing with endometriosis, ovulation dysfunction, PCOS. You're getting linked up with all the specialties that you need to optimize your care. And being an advocate for your reproductive health is important. The most rewarding times that I have is when I'm empowering people to take control of their health.
Download Metro News Television on your iPhone or Android. Search Metro News Television in your app store. Create an account today to get alerts and watch all live and archived content. Download now. 304 Talk 304. That is the text line, 800-765-8255. The phone number. Texter says, TJ, I like your idea of checking in where graduates are after certain points past graduation. I, too, was a terrible test taker, but never evaluated for a learning disability like students are now. I'm old as dirt, says the texter. A teacher really disparaged me in front of others in the classroom in elementary school. I've never forgotten it, yet I managed to complete an MS from Harvard. Well done. Well done. Is consumer power a good measurement for being successful? If so, what does that say about our culture, says the texter.
I don't think it's the only measure. I think it's one measure.
I mean, oh, boy. This is such one of those subjective terms. There are a lot of ways to measure success. It can be measured in dollars and cents. It can be measured if you grow up, you get married, have a family, have a house. I mean, there's a lot of ways to measure success beyond dollars and cents or test scores. That's what we're saying, I think.
Yeah. Newsflash, some of us will be more successful than others. It's okay.
And some people, again, you can be successful and not be a millionaire. You can be successful and be very successful in life.
Yeah.
It's one of those hard things, but we have to have measurements, we have to have standards, we have to have assessments to figure it out to some degree. I don't know what we proved there, but the hour's over. We got another hour coming back in just a moment. Flash flooding in Harrison County. Commissioner Patsy Trecost will join us. Also, we'll talk to the AARP. It's MetroNews Talkline.
Today's Metro News television forecast is brought to you by Solango Law. Get results, not excuses.
Meteorologist Joe Hansel here with your latest forecast. We get a well-deserved break of the rain today. Yesterday we had another round of some heavy rain, 2/3 of an inch yesterday in Charleston. For August to date, we're at 10.31 inches, which puts us at our third wettest August on record right now, with just under 2 weeks to go. We just need over a tenth of an inch of rain to be our wettest August on record, and we've had up and down extreme August. The August of last year was one of our drier on record. Over the last 5 days, over 5 inches of rain in Charleston and some 24-hour reports in northern areas. Saw some 1 to 2 inch rain reports. So there are some flood warnings out there, including the Clarksburg area. Keep eyes on area streams and rivers. I'm seeing some minor flood stage still out the door this morning. So if there are any barricaded areas because of flooding or river flooding, be sure not to drive around those. Total over the next 5 days, again, we get a relative break today, a few light showers this morning. Chances of rain go up Wednesday night into Thursday, and then some scattered rain possible for the weekend. Tomorrow, areas of western portions of the state to about the foothills, there's a marginal risk of local flash flooding I'm watching tomorrow and tomorrow night. Today we get a break. Fly saver forecast, it starts at home. Tampa heating up again near 97. Chance of showers and storms. Panhandle, be mindful of any existing flood warnings out the door. Some patchy fog in the morning. Eastern Panhandle, we're in the low to mid 80s today. 70s in the high elevations. Flood warnings out here to the north because of all the excessive rain in recent days and weeks. Huntington at 85 today. Bluefield near 76. Morning fog, then dry for Charleston and Morgantown today. Thursday, rain and storms likely, and then some scattered rain and storms are possible for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, slight chance on Monday.
This is Ben Solango with Solango Law. Solango Law has earned a reputation for getting excellent results for our clients. With decades of experience handling thousands of cases, we know what it takes to deliver. Proudly voted best in the Valley for 3 consecutive years by readers of the Charleston Gazette-Mail, Solango Law is deeply committed to giving back by investing in our community. From supporting local programs to making our region a better place to live, Solango Law is proud to be your trusted legal and community partner. Check us out at solangolaw.com.
MetroNews Talkline is presented by Encova Insurance, encircling you with coverage to protect what you care about most. Visit Encova.com to learn more.
Second hour of MetroNews Talkline. Dave and TJ in Cove Insurance Studios. Dave in Morgantown, TJ in Charleston. You are listening in on our great radio affiliates or watching on the MetroNews TV app, Facebook Live, and YouTube. Ethan Collins, our audio producer. Jake Link handling the video stream this morning. 800-765-TALK, the phone number. 304-TALK-304, that is the text line. Coming up, we'll talk to the AARP, bottom of the hour. We'll get some text messages as well. A couple of other stories of note today, including a crazy case over in Penn State involving drug trafficking. Dozen students, crazy case. We'll get to that a little bit later on. TJ Meadows anchors coverage from the Charleston Bureau. Morning, sir.
I think a more fundamental question: does anything good happen at Penn State?
I'll tell you what good is going to happen at Penn State in about 3 weeks. The herd is going to shock the world, buddy. Mark it down, write it down. Season opening win over at State College. Why not? Why not? Did it at South Bend. Tony Gibson's signature win at Penn State. How about that?
I'm down with that. I'm not a big Penn State fan, as you might imagine.
Well, you're an 80s. I'm not trying to date you there. But when it was a rivalry, when WVU Penn State was a rivalry, you are of that ilk, of that era, right?
I was young, but I was there.
But you knew. You understood.
Yeah, I understood.
All right. Not a Joe Paterno fan? The black Nikes bothered you, didn't they?
No. I think, look, I think Paterno is a complicated individual. I'll leave it at that.
Oh, there's a lot of ways we could go down that road, but you know what? We'll just leave it there. How about that?
Yeah.
Coming up later, we'll talk to the AARP. Yesterday, more rain, more flash flooding in parts of West Virginia, including in Harrison County. There were several road closures. There were also several calls for water rescues from Harrison County first responders. Also, Today was supposed to be the first day of school in Harrison County. That got pushed back at least today due to flash flooding. Joining us for an update, Harrison County Commissioner Patsy Trecost. Patsy, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, sir.
Several road closures yesterday. I know Simpson Creek got up onto Wayne Jamison, the turf there at Wayne Jamison Field, into the football locker rooms. But where were some of the problem areas in the county?
You know, it was all over Harrison County, and quite frankly, as you know, it's been all over north central West Virginia. I don't think we could be happier than to be looking out our windows today and driving down the road, seeing this sunshine was desperately needed, and we need a couple days of this to dry out.
Patsy, when you think about mitigation efforts, is there anything that you've been able to identify? I mean, maybe we need better maintenance of culverts or ditches along the road. Anything popping up that would say we could take care of this ahead of time and maybe it wouldn't be so bad?
You know, I think we always say to ourselves that we can do better. At the same time, we do a really nice job, and we have had an incredible open line of communication with District 4 and, you know, working on a state and county and municipality levels. We're all working together to, you know, do our best to bring convenience to people right now in their time of need. You know, we always say at the fire department that, you know, it's not the fire that destroys your home, it's us putting it out. And water damage is, you know, is significant. And right now we have so much of it, whether it's just a basement or a slip on a road. We have people in haulers right now that, quite frankly, can't get out to work. And the scary thing about that is then emergency management can't get in to help them should there be an emergency. So we're doing our best, and you know, we're very well prepared, and we have a very good infrastructure here. We've just never experienced this much rain so fast and this hard.
Talking to Patsy Trecost, Harrison County Commissioner. Any roads washed out or landslides, mudslides that have been blocking traffic?
All the above, sir.
Yeah.
Between mudslides, road slides, trees coming down. We're working diligently with the public service, you know, as far as the utility companies are concerned. And, you know, everybody's pulling in together. We're doing our best to get people's power back on. We're doing our best to, you know, keep lines open so that the water goes where it's supposed to. It's just so full right now, and everything is so, you know, just full of water. We just don't know. There's nowhere for it to go. So it was just continually rising, and right now we're just hoping it flows, and then the relief will come over the next couple of days.
A video came across my feed last night. I believe it got into the Indian locker room there in Bridgeport. What are you hearing across the county as far as school impacts otherwise?
Quite frankly, we're sick about it, but we also know that we'll pull together, and the Board of Education knows how important, the school system is all together. Bridgeport School will get cleaned up, and, the funny thing about it is we always, I heard this saying that, when you pray for rain, you got to prepare for the mud, and right now we're prepared for the mud, and we'll push it back where it's supposed to be, and we'll clean up.
Harrison County Commissioner Patsy Trecost joining us. This is always a dangerous question because we can only go back as far as we have experienced, but it's just been a heck of a summer, Patsy, with rainstorm after rainstorm. Like you said, the ground's saturated. There's nowhere for the water to go. It's been a while since we've had to deal with something like this.
Quite frankly, sir, we were talking about dating each other being in the 80s. The last time we experienced anything like this in Harrison County was 1986. So that was 40 years ago. And we're experiencing it today, right now. And, that's the reason why they call it a 100-year floodplain, because it happens once every 100 years. And right now we're experiencing it. Our climate is different right now. I don't know if it's permanent. Just 2 years ago, people were pulling their boats out of Tigert Lake because there was no water in it, and there was no water to put in it. So, we lost a month of season of boating just 2 years ago. So one thing the Lord hasn't given us the ability to do, and that's to control the weather. And quite frankly, it's nice to not be able to control something with everything else being controlled in your life with your phone and everything being so open, public, and no privacy.
Talk to us about your first responders. Talk about how they train and prepare for these events. How many men and women do you have out there working today? Do you know?
It is constant. And, it's times like this that you realize how important the professional firefighters, the professional police officers, all EMS, and how well they work and how tight-knit they are, whether it's men or women in the volunteer role or it's men and women in the professional role. when it comes to public safety, when it comes to helping a brother or a sister, everybody pulls in together. I'm so sad for what happened in, Weston just a couple weeks ago, but it was also amazing to go down there and take a look and see how everybody pulled together to get everything back in shape. And they did, and we will. This isn't our first flood. This isn't our last flood, and we're going to continue to prepare for it. And as you said earlier, we want to keep infrastructure as well as we can so that water goes where it's supposed to. But we also have to know that there's going to be times we just can't catch it all.
Well, let me ask you, Patsy Trecost joining us, Harrison County Commissioner, along the lines of what we can control, keeping up and making certain infrastructures up to standards, keeping ditches cleared, drains cleared, so water does have some place to go. Are we doing enough? Are we keeping up with those simple things? I say they're simple, but are we keeping up with what we can control?
100%, and you don't have to. You can drive in any county you want to. Right now, there's always work. Every day, there's work being done. Whether it's ditching, whether it's removing brush. We do everything we can constantly to keep channels open. It sounds so simple. It goes in the West Fork to the Ohio to the Mississippi, clear to the ocean, and that sounds so simple, but it takes a lot to get there. A lot of it was given us naturally because the path of least resistance takes its natural course, and we've continued to build on that, and we continue to do it, not just here in West Virginia, but all across the country. Nobody wants to experience this. Nobody wants to experience the drought in out west. Nobody wants to experience the excessive rain we're having here on the East Coast.
I think after 9/11, this mantra really caught hold. It became familiar. If you see something, say something. Does that hold, Patsy, when it comes to infrastructure? So if I'm driving down my road and I think, this could use a clean out or whatever, should I pick up the phone and call you or other officials and let you know that I have a concern? At least it's on the radar then?
Well, first off, as public servants, we all should be taking those phone calls and absolutely should be turning it in. The state does a great job of working with counties and municipalities all across the state of West Virginia. And, we know that we're all in this together. The old expression is the squeaky wheel gets the grease. If somebody keeps turning in the same place where the water's running over the road, it's most likely going to get fixed because as always, people get tired of hearing it. But remember, water running over the road destroys the road more than anything. So ditching is incredibly important, not only to keep the water off of it, but the life of the road so that it's actually cost-saving to keep the ditch clean.
Harrison County Commissioner Patsy Trecost. Patsy, thank you so much for the update. Give our best to the first responders, everybody there in Harrison County.
Hey, thank you, gentlemen, and have a wonderful week.
You as well.
You too.
MetroNews High School Game Night returns for its 25th season next Friday. Fred Persinger, Dave Jecklin will have the scores, recaps, interviews from all around the state of West Virginia every Friday night leading up to the championships in Charleston. MetroNews High School Game Night following your local high school football coverage until midnight on many of these same Metro News radio stations. We'll get to some texts coming up. 304-TALK, 304-800-765-TALK's the phone number. This is Talkline from the Encova Insurance Studios.
Approach your retirement with confidence. With over 150 years of combined experience, the advisors of the Stike team at Wealth Enhancement Group provide advice and wealth management strategies to individuals, families, small businesses, professional offices, and institutions. With the Stike team, you'll have access to an advising team with extensive resources, a client-first mindset, and a passion for helping transform the lives of those we serve. Visit wealthenhancement.com/Stike today and join the team that's dedicated to your success.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
It's good to have options for your family or employees. Rooted in your community since 1979, the health plan is your trusted partner. Get flexible coverage, exceptional support, and competitive rates.
The health plan, we are here for you.
You're listening to Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
Football season begins right here on Metro News Television. Join us Thursday, August 27th for the 2026 WVSSAC kickoff game. Presented by the Army National Guard. The Cameron Dragons battle the Clay Battelle Seabees live from Blacksville. Don't miss the first kickoff of the new season, the 2026 WVSSAC kickoff game. Thursday, August 27th at 7 p.m. Pre-game coverage starts at 6:30 p.m. Powered by GoMart. Only on Metro News Television.
Need a truck that's ready for work, weekends, and everything in between? Right now at Dan Cava GMC, get up to $10,000 off select new GMC Sierra 1500, or save up to $4,000 off all new GMC Canyon Elevations, offering bold styles, advanced technology, and everyday practicality. Come explore our all-new GMC Yukons, built for busy families and big adventures. All this and more at Dan Cava GMC in Bridgeport. Shop the road.
I'm Sean Kovich, Mountaineer Golf Coach. When disaster strikes your home, business, or golf game, call the restoration company the Mountaineers call. Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration.
At Daniel's Men's Store, exceptional style begins with a curated selection and finishes with a flawless fit. When it's time to buy a suit, Daniel's is here to make sure yours is one of a kind. Discover tailored suits you'll only find in store at Daniel's.
A lot of patients come here without much hope, and I think we can give them hope.
We offer a full spectrum of interventions suitable for every kind of person that walks through our door. We do absolutely everything we can to help you achieve your family building goals.
Talk 304. That's the text line, 800-765-8255, the phone number. We'll get to some text. Here's the story I was referencing about Penn State. Over a dozen individuals connected to Penn State University are currently facing serious criminal charges following an extensive law enforcement investigation into a massive campus drug ring. State prosecutors recently revealed that multiple college students and 2 off-campus fraternity houses were allegedly involved in a sophisticated narcotics trafficking network. Investigators discovered that the coordinated operation involved cutting, packaging, and distributing significant amounts of illegal substances to classmates on campus. According to investigators, 2 primary ringleaders allegedly organized frequent road trips to major metro areas to acquire massive amounts of contraband. Investigators say they would regularly travel to Philadelphia and New York, pick up the contraband, bring it back to the university area, and from there would distribute it in the State College area. Dozen students, I think there are 2 still, large couple of fraternities involved, a crazy case coming out of State College, but you can find that story, read more. I was fascinated with that this morning for some reason. Not something to hear every day.
I guess that's one way to disguise your operation. I mean, you're probably not going to – you expect to find maybe a lot of things in a frat house, but not all of that other stuff going on. So maybe that's – I don't know. Jeez. What's the world coming to?
I ask that about every other day. 304-TALK, 304 is the text line, 800-765-8255. Guys, as a contractor with FEMA, I learned that the 100-year flood works out to a chance of a flood of that level 3 days of any year. Not once in 100 years. You could have 2 years back-to-back with a 100-year flood, says the texter. I'm a farm girl, but cleaning the ditches and culverts would really help our roads. That's why I asked the question, are we doing the simple things, keeping the places clear? Look, at some point you have too much water, it's going to go where it's going to go. I get that. But at the same time, if you look at a ditch and go, well, you haven't cleaned that ditch in 3 years, that's why the water won't run there. Are we doing the simple
no
things?
ditch at that point, yeah.
Texter says, no, I think it's the fire, LOL. Oh, yeah. 304-TALK, 304 is the text line, 800-765-8255. Hey, guys, my son had a 4-point grade average in high school. He took the SAT 3 times, but did not qualify for the promised scholarship because he was a couple of points below in one category. He is now a senior at Fairmont State from other scholarships and is paying his own way, says the texter.
Good for him.
It doesn't make sense that scores would improve in a 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, but suddenly decrease in the 11th grade. Just asking, says the texter. Yeah, Michelle Blatt in the presentation said that was concerning. Look, we are still, and I talked about this, 6 years ago, doing the local show. We're still recovering, educational-wise, from the pandemic. And those kids who are in 11th grade, what? So if you were in – those kids in 11th grade last year would have been in what, 4th grade during the pandemic?
Sounds right.
5th grade? Having to work, learning from home. Look, learning from home was not great. My point is just this. We're still recovering. And those foundational things that you would have gotten during a normal instructional year, you may not have got them. And that may still be impacting where you are with mathematics and anything else in the 11th grade. It's going to be a while.
How many kids needed to take the year over and didn't?
I'd say a lot did.
My son was starting that year. And we made the decision to hold him back. So we didn't start him. We did like a homeschool curriculum that my wife got that was kindergarten based. So, I mean, it wasn't a lot. And then after the nonsense was over and schools were back in, we let him start. So we held him a year late. I mean, maybe that was the wrong decision on my part. I don't know. But it seems to have worked out well for us.
Texter says, keep in mind the test mean nothing to most students. They carry no weight. Until they have some skin in the game, the majority of students don't care or give their best effort. No matter the score, has no effect on promotion. Make it count for something. I've heard arguments both for and against such things. Like you said, you weren't a very good test taker. You want that to impact whether or not you're going to move up a grade level? Or again, I can argue it both ways. I've heard it argued both ways.
I'm getting nervous even thinking about it, frankly. The 11th grade drop, I mean, does that correspond? And again, the good doctor told us that they're trying to work on the SAT to make it more life assessment and not just a college entrance exam. But does that have anything to do with it? How many other states are using the SAT, ACT in the 11th grade year to be able to evaluate their students? I also think there is something to say, too. Many kids, maybe they don't get to take the test otherwise that need to. So there's something to be said for that.
And look, it's not like this is impossible. I know we're talking about these things as they're nebulous. We can't quite figure out. There are other cultures that, hey, this is the standard, and you're going to achieve the standard. And if you don't achieve the standard, there's going to be consequences for that. It's not impossible to do. I think we make it maybe a little more difficult than it needs to be. It's not impossible.
I think that's fair. And it's not always a matter of more. I mean, you look at the Finns and their education system. They go to school 4 hours a day, and they kill us in all the standardized testing. Now, so it's not necessarily more will be better. It's the quality of what you're getting, perhaps.
Now, that I could get on board. I could have got on board with as a 14-year-old. 4 hours a day? Count me in on that. This text is specifically for you, TJ. Well, I don't know if it's specifically for you, but it's got your name written all over. Okay. Where are all those whiny national debt-hating Republicans as Trump runs our debt up to $40 trillion? I hear crickets.
Look, I feel like I can only write about it so many times before I get some kind of memo from the former host of this show saying, stop writing about the national debt. No, he wouldn't do that. I'm with you, man. I'm with you. And it's off the rails. It's spend, spend, spend. And we're going to come up dry one day when we least expect it on some idle Tuesday in Parkersburg where they offer our debt. They actually do this in Parkersburg. Offer our treasuries into the market. No one's going to buy. And the only way they're going to buy is if the interest rate is so insane that we can't possibly afford it. We're going to get there one day. And how are we going to deal with that? We're going to turn the machines on, man. We're going to print. And, then you're paying $28.32 for a hamburger.
What gives you more angst, TJ? The national debt or thinking about the SATs?
Oh, the debt by far.
Okay.
The debt by far. Because, I'm the only one screwed on the SATs. I mean, this thing affects my kids. Yeah, you guys think I joke about this. This affects everyone listening to this program. It affects your families. I mean, we cannot continue the path of fiscal insanity that we have been operating in this country, frankly, post Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton had pay-go. I'm not saying Clinton was perfect, but he couldn't do it if he couldn't pay for it. They had pay-go. After that, it's been off the rails ever since. Doesn't matter if you're a Democrat, Republican, Independent. We spend more than we make, and that is a recipe for disaster. And one day it's going to come home and it's going to rear its ugly head, And then the few of us that are always talking about this, maybe we'll say, I told you so. I don't like to do that, but.
Well, isn't some generation going to have to be the one that says, we will do with less to deal with the debt? Isn't that going to have to happen? And who's going to want to be that generation that says, I will give up these things for people down the road that I will never meet?
Well, no one will want to. It will be forced on someone, and I think it will be our generation, sir, because I think we're getting past the tipping point. Somehow we've been able to stay on the right side of this thing with growth, but that is slowing. I mean, the economy today does not produce that 3% growth like it typically does. Sometimes we're a lot less than that. And you get 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years of that in a row, and you're going to be pickled. And so I think it's going to be our generation, if not ours, our children's, or maybe, I don't know.
It's not the millennials, which we are both. You're just barely Gen X, right?
I don't know what I am, man.
It's not our generation, but you're right. It's the kids who are coming through school, the kids we've been talking about doing the assessments. Yeah. They're the ones who are going to get really nailed. We're established. We've got things. I mean, we're established, right? As functioning adults. But those guys and girls in middle school right now, they may have to bite the bullet for decisions they had no part in 30 years ago.
Baby boomers.
We'll talk Social Security, AARP. We'll do that next. This is Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia. It is 11:30 and time for a news update. Let's check in on the Metro News Radio Network, find out what's happening all across the great state of West Virginia.
Today's Metro News television forecast is brought to you by Salango Law. Get results, not excuses.
Meteorologist Joe Hansel here with your latest forecast. We get a well-deserved break of the rain today. Yesterday, we had another round of some heavy rain, 2/3 of an inch yesterday in Charleston. For August to date, we're at 10.31 inches, which puts us at our third wettest August on record right now, with just under 2 weeks to go. We just need over a tenth of an inch of rain to be our wettest August on record, and we've had up and down extreme August. The August of last year was one of our drier on record. Over the last 5 days, over 5 inches of rain in Charleston and some 24-hour reports in northern areas. Saw some 1 to 2 inch rain reports. So there are some flood warnings out there, including the Clarksburg area. Keep eyes on area streams and rivers. I'm seeing some minor flood stage still out the door this morning. So if there are any barricaded areas because of flooding or river flooding, be sure not to drive around those. Total over the next 5 days, again, we get a relative break today, a few light showers this morning. Chances of rain go up Wednesday night into Thursday, and then some scattered rain possible for the weekend. Tomorrow, areas of western portions of the state to about the foothills, there's a marginal risk of local flash flooding I'm watching tomorrow and tomorrow night. Today we get a break. Fly-saver forecast, it starts at home. Tampa heating up again near 97. Chance of showers and storms. Panhandle, be mindful of any existing flood warnings out the door. Some patchy fog in the morning. Eastern Panhandle, we're in the low to mid-80s today. 70s in the high elevations. Flood warnings out here to the north because of all the excessive rain in recent days and weeks. Huntington at 85 today. Bluefield near 76. Morning fog, then dry for Charleston and Morgantown today. Thursday, rain and storms likely, and then some scattered rain and storms are possible for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, slight chance on Monday.
This is Ben Salango with Salango Law. Salango Law has earned a reputation for getting excellent results for our clients. With decades of experience handling thousands of cases, we know what it takes to deliver. Proudly voted Best in the Valley for 3 consecutive years by readers of the Charleston Gazette-Mail, Salango Law is deeply committed to giving back by investing in our community. From supporting local programs to making our region a better place to live, Salango Law is proud to be your trusted legal and community partner. Check us out at salangolaw.com.
Hey, I take offense of that.
Why would you do that? Because on midday, the last segment, the first thing I hear when those mics go on is you just coughing, and I'm just like, this guy.
You don't appreciate me giving that show a little ratings boost at the end, a little boom boom?
You coughing directly onto these microphones? No, I don't want it.
I don't know where this came from.
Everybody.
I'm in another room, guys. I don't know.
Everybody. Hey, Coop,
I'm just
what's up?
watching this.
Hotline on Metro News Television.
More of your text coming up, 304-TALK 304. That is the text line, 800-765-8255. That's the phone number. CityNet is West Virginia's local internet provider. High-speed, reliable fiber internet is probably right at your front door. Now is the perfect time to connect. Local customer support you can trust, perfect for working from home, streaming, gaming, or running your business. Fast, reliable fiber internet built for everyday life. When it's high-speed internet you need, citynet.net connects, protects, and perfects. We go from talking about debt to talking about one of the other issues that is pressing, and that is Social Security. Where will we be 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road, when TJ and I have gone senile and they throw us off the air? Will Social Security be there?
Speak for yourself.
Well, I mean, that could be tomorrow. That could be 30 years. Who knows? Joining us in the Charleston studios this morning, AARP Senior Vice President John Hishta. John, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. And I'm 20 years older than you guys, so I'm not senile yet myself. So at least I don't think I am.
Well, John,
and FYI, he's a Penn State grad, so clean it up a little bit.
Oh, okay. Well, we won't talk about the Nittany Lions. Hey, John, appreciate you coming in. So let's start the conversation here. Social Security, the idea was you work hard, you pay in, it'll be there for you when you retire. As we sit here today, is that still the case?
The premise is still valid. However, we're running into a deadline in 2032 where something has to happen, or else those who are on Social Security are going to get basically a 20% cut in their monthly benefit that they receive. Social Security's trust fund, the surplus is running out, essentially, is what's happening. That doesn't mean the program's going broke. It just means that there won't be enough revenue into the program to make people whole who are on Social Security right now.
So an important distinction, I believe I know where you would align with this. I hear people talk about Social Security as an entitlement. It's not. You paid for this. It comes out of my check. My employer pays half. I paid for it, so I should get it, right?
It's also not. It is a separate trust fund. Now, that people may think of that as an accounting gimmick, but it's really not. It is a separate fund created by the federal government. To your point, the taxes that are paid go into that fund directly. Federal government's never missed a paycheck. We just celebrated its 91st anniversary last year. So that is the premise behind it. You pay Social Security taxes, your employer matches them, they go into the Social Security Trust Fund, and it's designed as a multi-generational approach to pay folks who are on Social Security now. John, we're also running into a lot of problems, for instance, which, years ago, Social Security, you had 5 workers for every beneficiary.
Sure.
And so the math is just getting worse. Nowadays, it's 2 to 1. And so there's a lot of issues like that from a financial standpoint that the Congress and the new president, whoever gets elected in 28, are going to have to confront.
Talking to John Hishta, AARP Senior Vice President, joining us from the studios in Charleston. John, West Virginia is an older state. There are a lot of residents who Social Security, they rely on it. They're worried about making changes to it. What kind of changes would benefit West Virginians who rely on this as a source of income every day?
Well, let me put it into context first. So the average retiree gets about $2,000 a month in retirement benefits in West Virginia. Collectively, that's $10.6 billion annually into the West Virginia economy. So that's not chump change. At the end of the day, it has a big-time effect on a lot of people. It also keeps a lot of people out of poverty. You're talking about 150,000 people who, without Social Security, would be in poverty. And so we look at this from the standpoint of, is there a way to get creative with different revenue that could shore up the trust fund over the next several decades to make it whole again? And there are ways to do that, whether you raise the cap, which right now is $184.5 a year. That could essentially cover about 65% of the financial whole or another 50 years. We don't believe that you ought to raise the retirement age, which right now stands at 67. And the reason for that is unlike you guys and me who do our work sitting at a chair or a desk, there are a lot of people out there who, work on power lines or construction or other things, and physically some of them can't make it to 67. And so, collectively around the country, or coal mines in the case of West Virginia, collectively, you got to take that into consideration as well. And so there has to be, though, an open debate that gets the whole country involved in this, and it has to be bipartisan. Not to get into process, if you don't have 60 votes in the Senate, you can't do this. And so by definition, you have to have both parties involved. And I think for the confidence of the American people, you got to get everybody involved.
Put those numbers in perspective here, doing some quick math. You said $10.6 billion into the West Virginia economy every year. Our annual GDP is about $83.5 billion. So you're talking roughly 13% of West Virginia's economy. That's a staggering number. Number two, you and I were talking about Washington a bit. Why is Washington so innovation averse? I mean, you talked about used to be 5-1, now it's 2-1. It would seem, whether it's some injection of the market or some kind of new strategy, Washington just doesn't want to talk about anything, and that's just punting the problem down the road, and then we just hit it one day, right?
Well, and I also think that you can get into this broader philosophical debate about, look, at the end of the day, the federal government was built for a manufacturing and industrial society. We have moved beyond that. Now, everybody wants to talk about AI and all the effects that's going to have. Government's always behind when it comes to this stuff that gets created. And so I think that we don't know, for instance, what society or the government's going to even look like in 5 or 6 years, for the most part. If you and I had talked about this 10 years ago, even, it would have been a different conversation. And so, to your point, are there other ways to solve the problem? I mean, could you get some tariff revenue? Could you get some oil revenue? I think that there's a lot of things you could throw on the table, and you ought to have more conversations about it. I think, for instance, what the president did recently with the federal accounts around 401ks that they created was a step in the right direction. 40% of the people in this country have zero access to 401ks at their workplace. None. So the days of the pension are gone. So Social Security wasn't necessarily, it was supposed to be created as a part of the stool. And now, unfortunately, for a lot of people, they rely on it solely. I mean, there is a considerable amount of West Virginians, for instance, who 90% of their retirement income comes from Social Security. What do you do about that? I mean, that's just it's a problem from a retirement security standpoint. It's becoming a crisis in this country. Go ahead.
No, I was just we're talking to John Hishta, AARP Senior Vice President, joining us here at MetroNews Talkline. We were having this conversation? Well, TJ and I weren't necessarily having the conversation, but this conversation was being had all the way back at the turn of the century, the most current one. George W. Bush wanted to take, 10% of Social Security, invest it. Is that the lack of, and of course there was significant pushback, but is that the lack of innovative thinking you're kind of talking about, this idea of taking a chance? And we'd be in a much different place right now had that idea come to fruition, John.
Well, I would say that that, for lack of better word, was a step too far from a political and societal standpoint. And frankly, when you have probably one of the best government programs that's ever been instituted that works, that people think work, and it clearly has for 91 years, I think that the basis for the program ought to remain the same, and we ought to figure out a way to take it and make it whole for the 21st century and beyond.
Do you have concerns that fiscally, as we continue to grow the debt, deficit after deficit? I mean, there are the big things, we call them the big buckets, that can really move the needle. Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, national defense, and I guess now 4 with our interest on the debt, which there's only one way to get that under control. Do you have concern that you as a representative of Social Security have to compete with those other programs and justify why Social Security is a better use of those monies compared to the other programs. I mean, because there's only so much money out there. I guess we could raise taxes, obviously, but
Sure.
how do you how do you work that through your head?
First of all, I would say that Social Security hasn't really contributed one dime to the debt. It just hasn't. It's a trust fund. It's separate.
Because it's separate, people pay the tax.
Pay the taxes, sold taxes into it. Now, having said that, the federal government, in its infinite wisdom, still borrows money from the trust fund.
Yes.
But it's got to pay it back with interest. And so that is an important caveat. So whenever you hear people talk about, hey, have representatives of Congress stolen Social Security money, the answer is no.
Well, let me ask you that.
But they
If we
borrowed the
didn't-
money, but they paid it back.
If we didn't borrow that, would we have to be worried about this cliff in 2032? I mean, how much better of a position would we be in
We'd
if the
probably
government?
be in a worse position because the government had to pay back with interest.
Okay, so
Anything
it's
that they
supplemented
won.
because of the interest factor.
Exactly.
Makes sense.
Exactly. Now, having said that, there are a lot of goofy things that the government spends money on. I will give you that. The question is, how do you prioritize it? And that's a conversation for another day when you even want to talk about things like Medicare, Medicaid, health care, the costs associated with all of that. That is a whole nother ball of wax. Social Security itself, on its own, is a trust fund that has never contributed one dime to the federal debt.
John, would you get behind a 21st century version of the Greenspan Commission to get together and hammer out recommendations moving forward?
The short answer is no. And the reason why I say that is because we elect Congress people and senators to do their job. And at the end of the day, it's important that they show up, have an open debate, utilize the committee process that exists, and show the courage to come together and come up with a solution that can get 60 votes in the Senate and 218 votes in the House at the end of the day. But it's also going to take a lot of presidential leadership. So I go back to that. Whoever is elected president in 2028's got to show leadership to deal with this. And so one of the things that we're going to do at ARP once this midterm election is over with, we're going to start encouraging those candidates who are running for the nomination of both parties to really start laying out their plans for the future of Social Security, because the voters should know that going into the 28 election.
Absolutely should. You and I were talking before the program, and I shared with you my retirement philosophy. My wife and I, we probably save more in retirement than we should to hedge the bet that by the time I'm 67, or if I defer to 71, however long I work, that Social Security will not be around, despite the fact I've earned it, I've paid into it, etc. If that 2-to-1 that you're talking about inverts and goes the other way, 1-to-2, these kinds of things, I'm a bit of a financial Boy Scout, so I like to plan for the downside.
I understand.
Tell me, I'm hoping you're going to tell me that I'm being hyperbolic and I don't need to worry about that.
I think you are. I think if the country comes together and the leadership in the Congress and the new president come together and show the appropriate courage and come up with some appropriate solutions, then it's going to be around for you too. You have skin in the game. You're paying 6.2% every paycheck. You know, you can go on to ssa.gov right now and you can figure out.
Pay more than that when I contract, my friend.
Well, there is that.
John Hishta, AARP Senior Vice President. What brings you to Charleston, by the way, John?
Having these types of conversations. I like to get out and about and have a chance to visit with folks and talk to folks like yourselves and engage in these kind of conversations, because Social Security is the most important issue for our constituency, particularly those over the age of 65. And so we want to make sure we get out there, we engage in these types of conversations, as you said, in a non-emotional way as best we can, TJ, and keep doing it as we go forward.
I do think, though, not emotional, but I think just from the logical perspective, pick up the phone and call your congressional representation, because, again, if I had taken my hard-earned money and I had put it into a bank in a CD, and for some reason it wasn't returning, and I'm not saying that's happening anywhere, obviously, I would be livid. That's not really that different here. You're taking my money that I earned and you're putting it in. I should expect it back when it comes my time. So pick up the phone and call.
Absolutely. Or you can go to aarp.org/Social Security and we can help you connect with your members of Congress. here in West Virginia and around the country as well.
I get my card soon, right, Tom?
You can get it now if you want.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, even if you're under 50, you can have it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Learn something every day.
Great deal.
John Hishta, AARP Senior Vice President. John, thanks for stopping by. We appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Take a break. Back in a moment.
Right now, America is hungry for energy, more power, more reliability, and more security. So here's a question worth asking. Why not coal? And why not now? West Virginia sits on one of the most abundant energy resources in the world. Generations of miners, proven infrastructure, and coal-fired power plants already delivering dependable, around-the-clock electricity. At a time when demand is surging and reliability matters more than ever, coal isn't a question mark, it's a solution. Today, there's robust support in West Virginia and Washington to strengthen American energy independence using the resources we already have. So again, we ask, why not coal? And why not now? Because when it comes to powering our homes, our hospitals, our economy, and new opportunities, West Virginia Coal is ready. A message from the Friends of Coal, powering America today and tomorrow.
They say you can't take the lottery with you. But now you can play anywhere, anytime with iPlay, the West Virginia Lottery's official app. From Cooper's Rock to the Greenbrier River, from the bleachers to your living room, iPlay goes where you do. Safe, simple, and always West Virginia proud. Play anywhere, anytime. Download iPlay today. iPlay, the fun, secure way to play, wherever life takes you. 18 plus to play. Play responsibly.
You're listening to Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at WVHTF.org.
The best selection of WVU apparel is at Daniel's Men's Store. Exclusive designs you won't find anywhere else. Stylish, sophisticated, and unmistakably mountaineer. Shop in store or online at danielsofmorgantown.com.
For over 20 years, Dan Cava Toyota World has been more than a dealership. We're family-owned, community-focused, and committed to taking care of our customers long after the sale. Our commitment doesn't stop when you drive off the lot. With factory-trained technicians and a service team you can trust, we're here to keep your vehicle running at its best for years to come. So when it's time to get your next vehicle, choose the dealership that's been serving the community for generations. Visit Dan Cava Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the world!
I think many people have a misconception that all that we do is infertility care, and that's not the case. Reproductive health matters whether or not you're trying to conceive. So we can be dealing with endometriosis, ovulation dysfunction, PCOS. You're getting linked up with all the specialties that you need to optimize your care. And being an advocate for your reproductive health is important. The most rewarding times that I have is when I'm empowering people to take control of their health.
Metro News Talkline is presented by Encova Insurance, encircling you with coverage to protect what you care about most. Visit Encova.com to learn more.
What's wilder than the West Virginia Lottery's new $20 Wild Red Sevens scratch-off? The chance to win 10 times your prize and a $70,000 top prize. You could go wild with all the possibilities. Pick up your Wild Red Sevens ticket at your favorite West Virginia Lottery retailer today. 18 plus to play. Please play responsibly. Couple of texts here, 304-TALK, 304. I absolutely agree with your guest. It'll be there because it's untenable for Congress and the next president not to deal with it. It'll be there. It'll be fixed. Congress waits till their feet are in or almost in the fire. I'd say they wait till their feet are on fire. Hair, too. 304 Talk, 304. TJ, you're the numbers guy. Why not tax people beyond the 184K a year? Wouldn't I mean there's a lot of people that make that kind of money, Jim?
So look, there's a cap. Yeah, there's a cap on earnings. Right now it's like 180 something. It moves every year based on an inflationary driver and other factors. Jim, I don't have time to get into that. I do have an answer. Maybe I'll write about it this week. And if not, I'll send you a text. But the bottom line is it gets outside the merits of what the program was designed to do. When you go deeper and deeper and you see more people paying without necessarily an equal benefit. So there are issues of equity and other terms as to why I think that cap makes sense.
304 Talk, 304. President Clinton was the last president to have a balanced budget. Vice President Vance recently blamed the deep state, Democrats, for President Nixon's downfall. The U.S. government owes Social Security $3.5 trillion that it borrowed from Social Security. How much would that help Social Security if that gets paid back? Asks the texter. Got to take our final break. Back to wrap it up.
Right now, America is hungry for energy, more power, more reliability, and more security. So here's a question worth asking. Why not coal? And why not now? West Virginia sits on one of the most abundant energy resources in the world. Generations of miners, proven infrastructure, and coal-fired power plants already delivering dependable, around-the-clock electricity. At a time when demand is surging and reliability matters more than ever, coal isn't a question mark, it's a solution. Today, there's robust support in West Virginia and Washington to strengthen American energy independence using the resources we already have. So again, we ask, why not coal? And why not now? Because when it comes to powering our homes, our hospitals, our economy, and new opportunities, West Virginia Coal is ready. A message from the Friends of Coal, powering America today and tomorrow.
It's the WVRC Media Cares for Kids Radiothon this Thursday and Friday, raising money to support the incredible care provided by WVU Medicine Golisano Children's. From life-saving treatments to the little comforts that help make a child's stay a little easier. Your donation helps keep those programs going. Now, you can text the word WVU Kids to 34984 for a link to donate via credit or debit, PayPal, Apple Pay, or Venmo. It's the WVRC Media Cares for Kids Radiothon supporting WVU Medicine Golisano Children's this Thursday and Friday.
You're listening to Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
At Daniel's Men's Store, exceptional style begins with a curated selection and finishes with a flawless fit. When it's time to buy a suit, Daniel's is here to make sure yours is one of a kind. Discover tailored suits you'll only find in-store at Daniel's.
In 1914, the same year the first commercial flight soared and the Panama Canal opened, Greer Industries was born. Herbert and Agnes Greer began in Morgantown, West Virginia, striking the first pick into the limestone formation that would become the backbone of one of the state's great industrial legacies. From the roads we drive on, the buildings we build, and the communities we serve, Greer Industries has been delivering quality for decades. At Greer Industries, we've been improving lives for more than a century.
A lot of patients come here without much hope, and I think we can give them hope.
We offer a full spectrum of interventions suitable for every kind of person that walks through our door. We do absolutely everything we can to help you achieve your family building goals.
For over 20 years, Dan Cava Toyota World has been more than a dealership. We're family-owned, community-focused, and committed to taking care of our customers long after the sale. Visit Dan Cava Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the world!
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
Download Metro News Television on your iPhone or Android. Search Metro News Television in your app store. Create an account today to get alerts and watch all live and archived content. Download now. 304 Talk 304. Hey, Dave and TJ, another great show. Thank you. This is an early steam. Every time the Republicans try to address the Social Security solvency and funding issue, the Democrats go crazy and accuse them of wanting to destroy the safety net, accuse them of killing children, women, blacks, and the elderly. They've tried before to fix the system, but paid for it in lost elections and destructive PR, says the texter. Social Security and Medicare are safety nets and should not be entitled to everyone. It should be viewed like home and auto insurance. You pay a premium, you may never have a claim. An instant fix is raising the cap and exempting retirees from benefits who have a certain amount of wealth and or a certain amount of annual income. First, we must end the entitlement mentality of the boomers, says the texter.
It's changing the rules in the middle of the game, though. People have paid in for years, and now you're going to tell them they can't take it?
At some point, you got to change the rules, though, don't you?
I think I would rather see an innovative solution before I change the rules, and if that's the market or whatever it is. But I mean, look, everything's on the table, but that should be the last thing you do, in my opinion, is change the rules of the game. Start fresh.
Final text. It's an AI image of retired coach Phil Cunningham doing hurdles at Los Angeles Coliseum. You know that's AI. This is Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.